Very good morning and welcome all my respected colleagues for this uh, talk on sustainable development goals. So before we begin with the presentation, uh, let's uh, let's have a small understanding that how this session will go forward. Uh, this is a very important topic, sustainable development goals by the United Nations, or we say the nations united together to achieve a goal which is sustainability. This presentation will take your 3,000 seconds. So when I say 3,000 seconds, we can count on how many minutes. And the purpose of this presentation is to browse you all through 17 sustainable development goals and a little history, how these goals were established. Another important purpose of this session is that we remember that each of this goal is important for all of us as an individual. Be it an individual, be it an organization or a society or a nation, these goals are important for all of us to achieve. And together we can do that. And to achieve these goals, we have to understand them. We have to understand what is that requirement and why these goals have been termed as sustainable development goals. So next 45 minutes, roughly, we are going to focus on these 17 goals by United Nations. Welcome once again to this session. I'm sure that you will enjoy this session, and this will be a good way to start our day today. So I'm sharing my screen with the permission of everybody. So here we go. These are United Nations 2030 agenda and 17 sustainable development goals. So before we actually take on these goals, we understand. I would like to understand once everybody is able to hear me. I've already spoken a bit. If you can just type a message in the chat box saying yes. So a lot of yes. Thank you very much. So we start with the presentation. Thank you so very much. We start with it. So before we discuss the goals, sustainable development goals, I want all of you to give this thought roughly 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. What is sustainability? Sustainability, I think we should understand first, then only we should jump into to understanding these sustainable development goals. Now in business term, we say the sustainability is equal to time taken by a competitor in copying your business model. That means my business is sustainable as long as my competitor in the market is unable to copy the way I do a business. So if I'm doing my business in certain way and my competitor is taking 1 year to copy me in the market, in the same market, I think that is the time when I can sustain, I can think of something new to bring into my business. So that's the sustainability defined in a business term, especially in terms of strategy, when we look at strategy. Now, if you relate it if you relate this definition of sustainability, you will find there is one word which is coming into play. That is the competition. So sustainability has a direct association with competition. Now, in terms of sustainable development goals, now leave business, leave strategy. Now, in terms of these goals, which all the nations have set in through UN, where is the competition? The competition, there are three types of competitions here. One, me as an individual competing with myself. This is one kind of a competition. Me as an individual competing with somebody else. This is the second type of competition. And me as an individual competing with nature and natural resources. So these three types of competitions have actually been the major reasons for the development of these sustainable goals, because these competitions are challenging our sustainability as a mankind. When I compete with me myself, or I compete with somebody, I have to be rich. I don't want to be poor. I try to extract maximum resources, be it financial, social, economical, anything. When I try to interfere with the natural resources and nature, why? Again, to grow me myself. Air, which is a natural resource, is divided. Any aircraft which takes a flight from India, it has to take permission when it enters Pakistani airspace. So air is air which is distributed by nature to everybody, but we have divided. We have divided the waters. We have divided the big size mountains. हम आराम से बोल देते हैं, इस तरफ हिंदुस्तान है, mountain के उस तरफ China है. Mountain is a natural resource. We created that LOC or LAC, which is a news nowadays. You know, what is it? It's a competition. We are competing. We are competing and trying to be the best. Let's be very clear. I'm not here advocating right and wrong. I'm not advocating here what is right and what is wrong. What I'm talking is that mankind, since it started evolving, is competing either with himself or somebody, or with the nature or natural resources, living beings and non-living beings. So this competition has both aspects. The advantage in the good aspect is that we have grown. जो हम 1950 में थे वो आज नहीं. We are grown. Technology, infrastructure, industry. We have a Mars mission. Moon we have already landed. You know, so we are exploring the possibilities. A mankind cannot be a nature or a god, but yes, they are a second god now because their brains are working. And the fallout is these 17 issues. So in a race to develop, in a rush to develop, इस दौड़ में, what has happened? There is an inequality in the society. There is a racism in the society. There is a food insecurity. There is a climate challenge. Environment is degrading every day because we are growing, we are evolving. So the sustainability and our competition with these three components, which are these three components, me, someone else, and the nature. So I'm competing with all these three. So my sustainability, how long I will sustain with all these things if I do not care of these 17 things? Kitni der I can stop global warming to grow? That there will decide our sustainability. How long will I take as a mankind to to eradicate poverty and hunger around the world. So this time will decide our sustainability. That is why we want to create that sustainable environment for today's generations, so that the next generations do not get, they do not find it difficult to meet their own needs. So sustainability is all about to managing these 17 challenges, I'll say, and these 17 goals we have to achieve together. And the earlier we achieve, the longer we will live. This is the point here. So now let's go to the UN agenda. So before Sustainable Development Goals, actually, those who could see the video in the very beginning, they can relate. After World War II, the priority of the world was peace, and then prosperity. Then they wanted to remove poverty, hunger. Then they wanted to bring gender equality. You know, all these things happen after World War II, when everybody had a great fight with each other. Again, if you relate it with the competition and sustainability, you would see all the wars are happening just to prove somebody upper than, or somebody a great nation than anybody and than any other nation. All those wars happen in that context. So poverty, hunger, peace, prosperity was an agenda after World War II. So hence the UN came into picture. But in year 2000, countries, everybody decided to fix the goals. So in year 2000, UN fixed 8 Millennium Development Goals. This is a story before Sustainable Development Goals. I'll quickly just touch base then. So in year 2000, they took agenda of meeting 8 Millennium Development Goals, which were MDGs. And these were those 8 MDGs. You can see on screen. The another thing of this session is that probably I'm not going to read everything written on the slide. That you have to do probably. I have my own notes to follow. So these were 8 Millennium Development Goals, which again, you see that poverty, hunger, health, environment, global partnership, all these 8 goals were set to be achieved till 2015. These 8 goals were set in by UN. There were significant achievements made for these Millennium Development Goals, but a lot more was due. What was noticed during this MDG period, Millennium Development Goal period, that there is no mention of environment, especially carbon emission and green gas and all that stuff. Still, the gap was increasing. In 2000, close to 2011-12, they realized the gap between poor and rich is increasing. Urbanization is happening a lot. So there is an imbalance being created between a rural and urban development. Conflicts were also arising. So within these 15 years time, when these millennial development goals were into practice or were into action, and people were trying to achieve these 8 goals, they realized that still there are certain shortcomings in these goals, and there is a lot to do. There is a lot which was due. But at the same time, during the process of managing these MDGs, Millennial Development Goals, what the UN and the world realized, that global action can work. When I say global action can work, they realized the potential of being together. That means United Nations realized that if all the countries come together to achieve some goals, probably those goals can be achieved. And there are chances that we sustain ourselves for a longer duration. So that was the positive outcome of those MDGs, which were setting by UN from 2000 to 2015. Another thing was realized during those MDGs, that that when the next goal setting will happen for the entire world, for the globe, for the planet Earth, those goals should be universal. Those goals should be universal. Universal means applicable to all the countries. They also realize the importance that the goals which they will set in after 2015 should be transformative. That means it should bring the transformation. They should bring change. So any goal that we set in, even in an organization, that goal should be transformative. There has to be some transformation and upward transformation. There should be a change, maybe in a knowledge setup or a learning setup or processes or anything. And this was also realized that as a mankind, as a human mankind, we deserve to have a sustainable future. When I say sustainable future, means long, durable future. A good future, a healthy future for a long time. It's not that I have to live healthy. My children and their children, and even my grandchildren and the coming generations should live healthy, and they should embrace their presence in the world. That is the effort. This is also realized. So in year 2000 till 2015, for 15 years, 8 goals were decided. 8 action points were decided. But still there was a lot to do. That means we could not stop the process here. We had to go with the next level of goal setting. So the UN and the countries, they decided to go to the next level of goal setting. They realized there is no point in going half. I mean, there's no point in leaving this entire process in the middle of the growth. So after MDGs, what they did, they focused, they added few components in those goal settings, especially the environment front and the sustainable development. That means nature, society, greenhouse gases, water, sanitation, life on land, life on sea. So all these things were added to come out with another set of goals for the entire world, so that we can sustain for a longer duration during this time. Now, when the next goals were set for the world, that process was a very democratic process. When I say it was a democratic process, it means that the people from across the world were involved in setting those 17 sustainable development goals. If you look at the slide, you would see 5 million people were involved in the process. All countries were asked. Major NGOs and the civil bodies and the societies were involved. Major agencies were involved and consulted to decide on next level of goal setting. So it was a democratic process. That means the brain behind setting these sustainable development goal was, it was a wholesome effort of all the countries of entire world together. Now this shows the importance of knowing these sustainable development goals. Without these, I think we will not contribute to the growth of the world. So another set of 17 goals were set up in 2015, and it was decided that these 17 goals need to be achieved by 2030. That's why this is called the UN 2030 agenda. So when these 17 goals and one mission was set in by United Nations, these goals were largely divided into 5 P's: people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. And the interesting thing is, all these 5 P's are interconnected, they are interdependent, and there is an integration approach. All of them are directly depending on each other. They are depending on each other. So all 17 goals are divided into 5 P's by the UN. We must remember this. And these 5 P's are, again, I say, people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. Now, which goals come under people? We are going to explain this little more in the coming slides, but this is just to understand how 5 P's are focused on these 17 goals. Another sense, all 17 goals, how these 17 goals are fitting into these 5 P's. People. Now, under first P, people, there are first 5 goals, first 5 sustainable development goals. Poverty, end poverty and hunger, stay healthy, quality education, and gender equality. And if you look at these 5 goals, first 5 goals of UN, you would see people are involved. When I say people are involved, if there is a low poverty, or there is no poverty, there will not be a hunger. You can see the poverty, the first goal is, the second goal is followed by the first goal. All of them have a connect, and all 5 goals are connected to people. There's no poverty, there will be no hunger. There will be no hunger, people will be healthy. If people will be healthy mind lives in a healthy body. They'll be able to get good education. They will be a lifelong learners. They will grow with their learning capacities. And when they are learned, when they are educated, they will believe in equality. They will give everybody their rights due. So all 5 belong to people, and all 5 are connected. Next, 10 goals fall in planet and prosperity both. Now, planet means we have to save our earth. Okay, so that's why the next 2 P's are there for another 10 goals. Planet and prosperity. Now, clean water, affordable energy, and decent economic development and employment, resilient infrastructure, less inequality, resilient cities, sustainable consumption of the things, climate change, and to maintain the ecosystem, not land degradation, and to stop, we have to stop the biodiversity. You would see that the next, after the first 5 goals, next 10 goals were based on planet and prosperity. Then comes peace and partnership. So all the 17 goals are divided into 5 P's. We have already discussed 3. These are the 2 more. And we continue discussing it more. Then comes the peace. Peace is going to be the fundamental requirement to be sustainable in the world. And partnership, where we all countries partner together and achieve these development goals by helping each other. I have a one resource as a nation. You have a one resource as a nation. Let us exchange those resources. Let us stay peaceful. Let us participate. Let us collaborate. And let us make our people stronger. This is the basic premise of all these sustainable development goals. So when we now what we have understood by now, that the United Nations first in year 2000 set 8 goals till 2015, and those goals were known as MDGs, Millennial Development Goals. In 2015 they extended the goal setting. Then they made Sustainable Development Goals, 17 goals with a democratic process. They involved all the countries, NGOs, societies, and then they set in 17 goals for the world to achieve. Again, I told you the challenge is sustainability, how long we can live happily. These are those 17 goals which we have discussed. So as I told you, the first 5 goals, these 5 goals belong to people. From 6 to 15, planet and prosperity. Then 16 is peace, and 17 is partnership. What is the uniqueness of these all 17 sustainable development goals? The biggest, and I will say that as we discussed in the initial slides, when these sustainable development goals were set in by the UN, universality. That means these are applicable to all the nations of the world. So these goals are applicable to whole of the world, to all of us, to you and me, to everyone. This is their uniqueness. Integration. All goals are interconnected. They are interdependent. One is followed by another. So if we achieve everything, then only we can be sustainable. So this is how we have, we are depending on each of the goal to achieve. And probably this adds to the importance of knowing these SDGs as an individual. So that whenever we work in our organization or at home, in our society, we should keep these 17 goals in mind. And everything that we do, we have to keep these 17 goals in consideration, so that we also contribute maybe a bit. And trust me, after reading and preparing this presentation, I'm more clear what all I can do and how can I contribute as an individual first to all these 17 goals. Maybe I'm just a small particle in this whole world, but yes, each one of us, if we do, probably we can make our world more sustainable and livable. Third is the transformation. If each one of us participate in these 17 sustainable development goals, in achieving these goals by 2030, trust me, the world will be different. The world will be a changed world. That is the transformation. So universality, integration, and transformation. These are the three unique abilities of sustainable development goals set in by UN. Now let's start looking at it one by one. You can look on the slides. I've put in some data on the slides for your understanding, but I'll speak why poverty. Why poverty is a goal. That is the point. COVID-19 has actually, this pandemic has reversed the trend of poverty. We were improving on this parameter, but due to COVID-19, now there is an addition of more poor people. There's addition of this poverty in the total baseline. So what has happened? This is estimated that the COVID-19 pandemic is reversing the trend of poverty and reduction, with the tens of millions of people in the risk of being pushed back into the extreme poverty. Now, people living on less than $1.90 a day. That is the first increase in the global poverty in more than 20 years. So, at one point of time, it was felt that the poverty is there in the world because of unemployment. But if you read reports of the UN or reports given by the UN, you will find having a job also does not guarantee a decent living. In fact, the stats say, the data says 7.1% of employed workers and their families worldwide lived in extreme poverty. This is year 2019 data. So even unemployment is not able to manage or to helping us to reach the employment is also not guaranteeing a decent living. That is the question. So that's why this particular goal is very important for all of us. Next goal, zero hunger. Now, if the people are not poor, probably they'll have their good food. And why zero hunger is a second sustainable goal in people's category. Extreme hunger and malnutrition remains a barrier to sustainable development. I think we all will agree. And this is a trap. Hunger basically is a trap which people cannot get rid of. There is a question, why there are so many hungry people in the world? Because of conflicts. And all of you are well aware. I mean, I'm not the expert in that, but yes, you people are also aware. The conflicts are one reason why people are hungry in the world at this point of time. Climate shocks, pandemic like COVID. We need more investment in agriculture. We need to have improved food security, creating employment and building resilience to disasters and shocks. If we do that, then only probably we can handle the hunger. There is a very interesting statistics with me, but sad as well. In 2019, 144 million children, ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention. We need your attention here. In 2019, 144 million children under the age of 5 were stunted. Now, stunted means they were not having the weight equal to their age. They were not having a good eyesight. They were not having a height equivalent to their age group. 47 million children were affected by wasting. They did not get the food and they were affected. The food was wasted. 47 million children were affected. Third, so if we manage to remove poverty, if we manage to reduce hunger, then probably we'll be healthy. And why good health is required? There are certain stats on the slide. This is for your reading. I'm not going to reread those stats. This is for you. At least you can read. But why good health is required? Because why? Because healthy lives and promoting well-being is important to build a prosperous society. As I told you, healthy mind lives in healthy body. So you have to have a good health. Again, the COVID-19, the report says the COVID-19 pandemic has devastated health system around the world globally, though they have saved many people also. But yes, it has been a challenge as well. Many countries, especially the poor countries, have insufficient health facilities, and we get to know about all these things on a regular basis because media is talking only about health challenges. But I'm still speaking for the last goal number 3. There, if we continue with this trend, 39% to 63% of the global population will be covered by essential services by 2030. What does it mean? Still, by 2030, this is estimated that 30% of the world's population will not have health facilities if we do not improve upon. So if there's no poverty, no hunger, good health, we are healthy, then time comes for an education. So the 4th goal is to achieve quality education. Why do we need quality education? I think each one of us can speak on it for a number of hours, but I'll just touch base few points. This helps socioeconomic mobility, and education. A good education helps us escaping poverty also. Good education reduces inequality. It touches gender equality. It is crucial to fostering tolerance in the generation and more peaceful society. So good education is must. Nevertheless, about 258 million children and youth were still out of school in year 2018. And ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention once again. Women and girls are one of these groups. About 1/3 of countries in the developing regions have not achieved gender parity in primary education. And I'm telling you, primary education is as important as secondary and higher education. That's the base, basically. In 2018, 773 million adults, 2/3 of whom are women, remained illiterate in terms of reading and writing skills. But that doesn't mean that we have not progressed in spreading good co-education. The world has progressed a lot. Around 7 in 10 children aged 3 and 4, they are on track academically. When I say that they are on track, means they are good in 3 domains: literacy, numeracy, physical development, social, emotional development, and learning. So there is a progress also, but in terms of education, we cannot compromise less than 100%. In fact, we cannot compromise for each of our goal less than 100%. But yes, education is must. If basic education is given, if people are educated more, then probably we can, it can help us achieving other goals also. Gender equality. I have already touched based it. But if you look at the goal 5, Sustainable Development Goal 5, gender equality is another challenge. Women and girls represent half of the world population. Again, I want your attention here. Women and girls represent half of the world's population. Therefore, I feel that if they represent half of the world's population, they also represent half of its potential, but they are not reaching half of its potential. Inequalities faced by girls in our world, it's beginning right at birth and follow them all their lives. In many countries in the world, girls are deprived of access to healthcare, of proper nutrition, leading to a higher mortality rate. I'm surprised to share this stats with you. Worldwide, I repeat my words, please pay attention once again. Worldwide, 35% of women between 15 years to 49 years of age have experienced physical abuse, violence. 1 in 3 girls aged 15 to 19 have experienced some form of abuse and violence in 30 countries in Africa and the Middle East. And report says that the COVID-19 has actually, in some countries, it has caused domestic violence, more domestic violence, and there's a immediate intervention required to remove this gender equality. So with this goal 5, that people's part is over. We go to the next. Now it's time for planet and prosperity. This is goal 6. We need clean water and sanitation. Why? Again, the question is why. I'm just talking on why this clean water and sanitation is required. The demand for water has outpaced the population growth, and half the world's population is already experiencing severe water scarcity, at least 1 month a year. Saal mein ek mahina, there is a severe water scarcity. This scarcity world's population is facing. Water is essential not only to health, but also to poverty reduction, food security, peace, human rights, ecosystem, and education. But countries are facing severe challenges. In 2017, an estimated 3 billion people worldwide lack the ability. Please listen to me now very carefully. 3 billion people in 2017, they lacked the ability to safely wash their hands at home. Now you can relate. Now you can relate why there were separate advertisements. Wash your hands properly. UN knows. We also know. We never paid attention to it. In 2017, we had 3 billion people. They had no access to safely wash their hands at home, which we consider as the cheapest, easiest, and the most effective ways to prevent any spread of disease. Maybe this is one of the reasons COVID-19 has gone above. I mean, it's beyond our reach now. 4.2 billion people are still faced with daily challenges, access even the most basic of services. I must share here, 633 million people practice open defecation, which is a big number. That is a challenge to environment also. Now, SDG 7, Goal 7 under planet and prosperity. Affordable and clean energy. Why do we need affordable and clean energy? A well-established energy system supports all sectors, from businesses, medicines, organizations, societies, everything. More focused attention is needed to improve access to clean and safe cooking fuel and technologies for 2.8 billion people. This is the immediate requirement. Though we have done a lot of development in terms of electricity, electricity is everywhere now. 9 out of 10 people now have access to electricity. But reaching the unserved 789 million people around the world is again a challenge. Let's realize, without electricity, without affordable energy. Women and girls have to spend hours fetching water. Clinics cannot exercise their, practice. School children cannot do their homework. So this is the basic requirement. Affordable energy is the basic requirement to grow for any economies. Decent work. You can read the stats given below in the slide. But this is a very important thing for us to understand. We need decent work. Decent work means opportunities. Now let's understand what is decent work. We can relate it with anything, a fancy office and a fancy dress and something. We have something which is very posh in looking. Decent work means opportunities for everyone to get work that is productive. That is productive and delivers a fair income security in the workplace. It gives you social protection and it helps you with more personal development and social integration. So there is a heavy demand of decent work and economic growth because both variables are interdependent here. Decent work, if you will have a decent work, economy will grow. That's another important point. Goal 9. Goal 9 is about industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Now, without infrastructure, without industry, without road network, without rail network, without air network, all kind of infrastructure is required, be it a social infrastructure or is a physical infrastructure. So without physical infrastructure, we can't think of a growth of entire world and all the nations. As I told you, the basic infrastructure like roads, information, communication technology, sanitation, electrical power, water remains still scarce. Ye abhi bhi kam hai. In 2019, some 87% of people in developed countries use the internet. I'm talking about 2019, 20 maybe this may have gone up to 95%. But in 2019, 87% of people in the developed countries, they had an access to internet, whereas in the least developed country, only 19%. This is the one basic thing that I'm talking. Now, internet has become basic thing. Look, this is called the change. So, 97% of the people are living within the reach of mobile cellular signals. That's right. But still, there's a lot of penetration of internet and other infrastructure facilities to be are required for people of the world. We are now at goal 10 to reduce inequalities. Now, inequalities based on income, sex, age, disability, orientation, race, class, ethnicity, religion, and opportunity continue to persist across the world. These are those things which we can term as the inequalities in the world. The report says that this inequality is growing for more than 70% of the global population. And there's a lot of divide happening everywhere. We need to handle this particular inequality part also. I'll continue with some more examples. Women and children with lack of access to healthcare die each day from preventable diseases. Still, people are dying from measles and tuberculosis, or in childbirth, at the time of childbirth. So that's the point. Another goal is goal 11, which is sustainable cities. That means we want the cities and infrastructure are where the urbanization has happened, or maybe in the rural areas. We want resilient structures. 90% of COVID-19 cases are occurring in urban areas. With the 1 billion residents of the world's densely populated, slums being hit the hardest. This is one of the reports says. Now, the problem with the sustainable cities is that what will happen if cities are just, if we leave the cities to grow organically. अपने हिसाब से गलियां, सड़कें, घर 2 मंजिल बनाओ, 3 मंजिल बनाओ, 4 मंजिल बनाओ. You make 4 floors, 5 floors. आगे से बड़ा हुआ, पीछे से बड़ा हुआ. If we let the cities grow organically, what will happen? The cost of poorly planned urbanization can be seen. in slums, and we have seen it in the old cities also. We have to choose to act sustainably. We have to build cities where all citizens live a decent quality of life and form a part of the city's productive dynamic and shared prosperity. We have to consider our city as a resource. Our city is our resource. Our street is our resource, but we don't take it. For us, our home, our rooms, our dining room, and everything is our resource. We don't bother what is happening with the city or state, but that we have to. Otherwise, we'll not sustain for a long time. Goal 12, responsible consumption and production. So economic and social progress over the last century is there, but environment is degrading. Why? Because there is no responsible consumption and production. There's a lot of waste. There's a lot of waste. There are many aspects of consumption that with simple changes can make a big impact on society as a whole. Now, just a stat. Again, I would need your attention for 30 seconds more. We lose 13.8% after harvesting. I mean, the food after harvesting, the production, and during transport. So during harvest and transport, we lose 13.8% of our food. Storage and processing, amounting to cost of 400 billion a year. एक साल में 400 billion dollar का हम loss लेते हैं because 13.8% food is wasted. That production is waste, goes to a wastage when it is harvested, transported, stored, or processed. So $400 billion a year, such a big waste. We have to be very responsible while consuming also and while producing also. Goal 3 is climate action. All of you are very well aware of this. Global warming is the one thing which we hear every day. It's the warmest decade ever recorded as per the reports I have presently. If this climate and this global warming is not checked properly, climate change will cause average global temperature to increase beyond 3 degrees centigrade and will adversely affect ecosystem. We have seen hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunami, extended summers, extended winters, heavy rain, abrupt rain. So all these things are happening because we need to have a control over the climate. Again, you can relate all these aspects, all these goals with that sustainability and competitiveness. We are trying to be competitive. We are trying to be the best, but it has taken toll on some other aspects of the world. These are those things which we may have to take care very well. Goal 14. Please bear with me for some another few minutes because now we are at goal 14, and very soon we will be touching sustainable goal 17. Life below water. This was not discussed in millennial development goals during 2000-2015. Now, if you look at the waters, they are the world's largest ecosystem. Oceans are our planet's life support and regulate the global climate system. They are home to nearly 1 million known species, and there is an untapped potential below the water. You know, the ocean absorbs around 23% of annual carbon emissions generated by human activity and helps mitigate the impact of climate change. The ocean is very important for us. Ocean also absorbs more than 90% of excess heat in the climate system, but the ocean takes that toll on itself. So this is about 80% of all tourism takes place in coastal areas. We have to be a responsible tourist also when we are close to the coastal areas. Tourism industry is growing, but water is depleting. Ocean resource is depleting. So one side growth and one side degradation won't take us for long, and probably we will be in trouble. Let's go to the 15th goal. 15th goal is let's save life on land. Forests cover nearly 30% of our planet's land area. The air we breathe, it comes from plants. The water we drink, the food we eat, forests sustain us. So forests are very, very important. I mean, these are those things which you probably are aware. I'm just touching base some important things so that so that we together today resolve to participate in these 17 goals, and we give our best to save our earth. Forests, so lost forests mean the disappearance of livelihoods, especially in rural world. So lost forests mean increased carbon emissions. Lost forest means diminished biodiversity and the degradation of land. Let's save the forests. This is something which is very basic. Peace. Now, peace is the fourth component. In peace, what is important? In fact, we started with the peace, justice, and strong institution after World War II. People everywhere need to be free from fear. All form of violences, they want to be free. We want to live in peaceful environment, not in a violent environment. In 2019, please pay attention. The number of people fleeing war, persecution, and conflict exceeded 79.5 million. Highest ever recorded. And there's another stats with me, very surprising. 2015 to 19, this is between those 5 years, the United Nations recorded at least 2,000 killings and 150 enforced disappearances of human rights activists, defenders, journalists. We have to learn how to stay in peace rather than create turmoil. And the last goal is partnerships, global partnerships. We have to partner with each other. It's nobody's job. It's not nobody's, I mean, it's not your job. It's not my job alone. We both have to come together. We all have to come together as an organization, as an institution, as an individual, as a society, as a country. If we all countries partner with each other, then probably we can achieve all these goals. And this partnership is a new thing. And I was just reading yesterday night that United Nations, they look forward to many UN volunteers. If you go to UN website, you would see they need a lot of UN volunteers to support this effort of global partnership. We can get several projects from UN in these 17 sustainable development goals in the areas that we have discussed. Actually, what is the requirement? The requirement is that whatever we do, we have to keep in mind these 17 goals. So if we do that, probably our actions will lead to the results, and we will contribute our bit, our piece to this global effort. So as I told you in the very beginning, each goal, all 17 goals are important for us, and each of this goal is connected, interconnected. So that is the one thing which is very important for us to understand. So with this, I wish all of you have a great day further, and I hope that I could do justice to these 17 goals overview to all of you. UN site is full of data and information on these 17 goals. What we need as an institution, what we need as an individual is participation, collaboration, help. We should participate. We should collaboratively help to achieve these 17 goals. With this, thank you very much, and thanks for your time. I know I have taken nearly 3,000 seconds of yours today when you have started your day. So I'll stop sharing the presentation now. I'll drop all of you one link where I would like to get some feedback from all of you. Plus, you can write me the questions or anything that comes to your mind. And with these words, have a great day. In case of any question or anything that you want me to speak on, I can do that. One, and second, you can drop me an email. I can answer those questions, and we can keep on debating. The only request to all of you is that let's collaborate, let's participate, so that we can achieve these 17 sustainable development goals set in by UN for us. It's not for them, it's for us. Thank you very much, and have a great day, everyone.